Okay, first update from Wichita Fire.
You.
Thanks for coming.
Hello, my name is Captain Rocky Barr, Wichita Fire Department, out of Station 7, which is 2346 North Coolidge. Nothing really new today. There's a fire report that you guys have in the packet over there on the table, if anybody from the public would like to pick it up. I do have some brief numbers to go through for the month. District 6 for the month responded for the month of September to 842 total alarms. That's pretty normal for us. No uptick there. Just to give that perspective, the busiest district would be District 1. I'm sorry, District 3 at 1,136 alarms for the month. Then District 1 at 942. Then District 6 at 842. And then it goes down to 622 to 464 in the middle. That's pretty normal.
That's for months.
Yeah, per month. They figure 60,000 calls a year citywide. So that's pretty normal. The one thing I would follow up on a little bit, and we were talking about the close before you goes. Have you seen your video? You know, I haven't seen it. Imagine shot, it comes on Valley Shot video. To kind of get the point across a little bit. It's about closing your door better when you're sleeping. I can give you a live example last night at 1617 East Lewis. That's hydraulic in Lewis. This was 9 o'clock. They weren't sleeping, but a mother and 4 kids had a fire kind of come out of their little duplex. The smoker was walking out the point of exit out the front door. So she went to the bathroom, got the 3 kids. Let's see, to make sure that they had 3 kids and herself went to the bathroom, shut the door, which is the most important thing to do. Keeps the smoke out. Open the bathroom window, wave the towel so people can see her. We get there, light out the window, they call light out, no injuries. Those types of things are heroic. It sounds very simple, but if you can get in a room and shut a door, that's going to buy you a lot of time as far as the smoke getting to you. That's what we talk about the closing before you go. It's up to clear on that about. So hopefully I haven't seen a video to really get out. There's guys sitting there fun shooting, by the way. Then a couple other things. Last Friday we had our 8th fatality of the year in the city, a fire fatality. That was at 2704 East 9th, the public complex. If you're familiar with it, I'm pretty sure the public complex. Victim was what we call pulseless apnea and was removed him. We tried resuscitation for a long period of time there on scene. No response. And so he died there on scene. I don't know much for details. I can tell you that when we'll talk to the guys there, I did not go. One of my other guys did. But he did give a cyanide kit, which was the first time given and proud of doing it. Which is an anti-smoke thing that relatively new. We only carried it for 8 months. It sounds like most likely I see this throughout my career. I think he probably fell asleep on the couch smoking, and the couch on fire and just went right away. That's fairly common. Cause when you see something like that. Unfortunately, it is a fatality year. That is somewhat. I would say we always average between 5 to 8 a year. We were at the top part there. Now it's weird on it since they're so few. We've had times when we've had a 4 well, the best example I can give you when the plane crashed into the airport 10 years ago, 35 people died out of it. That makes us higher fatality number all of a sudden double what it was the year before. So there's no incidents like that this year. 2 other things real quick, and I always say this time of year, it's getting cold, pretty cold this week. If you have a wood burning fireplace, I would really suggest that you guys have heard me say it before, get that thing professionally inspected and cleaned every winter. Because if you have a chimney fire, which we respond to this time of year all the time, 2 things are going to happen, and both of them are not good for the homeowner. One is that you don't know about it because it's in your attic, it's above you, and you don't hear anything about it. And the first thing you notice is the lights flickering, or you hear something crackling, and by the time that occurs, your roof is burning off. So when we get there, we put it out, there's serious damage. The other thing happens is that it's just a smoldering fire. If they've been smoldering for days, you finally hear it, see something. There's not much damage in there, but in the process of us having to get to it, we're going to put a pretty large. It takes a lot of work to do a damage to your house, like it or not, to find that fire along that footage. Couple $100 on a professional chimney inspection, I think is well worth it if you see the damage I've seen in those type of fires. Last thing, NBA collections will be Friday, October 18th, Saturday, October 19th. Sunday, October 20th, we will go to Dillon's. And the 21st in Hammond from 10 to 2. That got delayed, it was a little late this year, we're actually scheduled to do it the weekend that we had the chemical typo. And so we canceled it again. So we'll be out that weekend doing NBA collections from 10 to 2, we'll be at the front doors with our boots. You got stuff calling by, drop it on the boot, much appreciated by you.
You guys do that in the intersection?
No, we do it myself, but we do it in intersections, 6 years ago probably. Right. The first was fine.
Any questions? Yes.
So a question about the chimney. So even if I don't operate the wood burning fireplace, I should still have it.
I don't think, if you're not gonna burn it,
Okay.
it's not, there's no source in, I would just say if you're gonna burn it.
Okay,
That's what you need to do.
okay.
Any other questions? I have two really quick.
Sure.
You already addressed the cold weather trends. I appreciate that. There were some questions last month about the agitator, and I know we talked about it, but if you could talk about the button, that if.
Oh, yeah, I saw the email on that. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're talking about,
Sure.
you're talking about stoplight?
Yeah.
So if you didn't know, the stoplight at 21st and Woodrow, which is a weird intersection because it's a freeway intersection, just south of my station. There actually got put in quite a while ago, but it came up again with the car wash van. We actually have a button at the station that we can push, and actually, when you push it, see, like, it controls that light. And it'll turn it red in certain directions that allow it, actually turns it red in the westbound. And because we're gonna come up to 21st and Cooley, south and anything, it'll shut that, turn it, it'll time it. Out of sequence, I guess I should say, to shut traffic on, so we can get out. It is working. There's a question about that, was a stipulation about them replacing it, because it got pretty old. Because I think it probably went in when the station went in, the station was built in 2004. So yes, it is operational and we use it, but we use it most of the time. We don't hit it at night very much. It's the rush hour times, 7 to 9, if we can get out without having to traffic. Honestly, when you're running hot or regular traffic, the better you can get traffic to flow normally, the better things usually go. But in cases, if you know, like this one, if you guys ever said that intersection, or 20% from 7 to 9 and 3 to 6 p.m. It's big. Yeah.
Other one real quick is, how are the fentanyl, polls?
I was gonna pull those numbers for you, and I'll pull them next month, but I will tell you, so we have facts to deal with it. I will tell you anecdotally, I've seen less and less overdoses, no doubt about it. I can't tell you that citywide. I went from a couple years ago, we were given Narcan, weekly. It seemed like, and we are not doing it near. What I can do though is I'll pull those, if you actually get it going, I'll just pull on Central County EMS website, and it's a really interactive dashboard website. You can look at Narcan administrations that they've done in the last 5 years, I think they have. So they track those really well. And I'll pull that and I'll have the actual numbers for you. But I say anecdotally, we are not pushing as much Narcan as we have previously.
Any other questions? Awesome, thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much. All right, what's the police department?
Hello, Officer Jesus Soto, I'm out of the North Substation. I am the CP officer for 48 and 49 B, basically like 13 to the North City limits. And it goes kind of like in the legislative, so. I think you guys some of the statistical data first. Looks like month to month, all the numbers are down, except for there was a homicide over at 600 North Topeka, which is still an open investigation. We did do an impact meeting over there and talked to basically everyone under the block to see if we got more information. So they are still actively working that. Robberies, no change. Ag assaults, no change. Burglaries are down 19%, so 34 to 42. Larcenies are down 17%, 128 to 155 the last month. Looks like larcenies to auto, there is a slight uptick. 70 this month, 58 the last month. And auto thefts are down 9%, 30 to 33. I want to talk about some of the auto thefts over in the area, I would say north of 33rd. And then the ditch, south of, what is that, 1496, and then the other side, the west side of, 235 there. But there was, two Ford F-250s, one Ford F-350, that were targeted for being stolen. Two were actually stolen, on the 6th of October. And one was, just damaged. They had like the ignition kill switch, so they were not able to successfully steal that one. So if you have those kind of vehicles, try and put them in your garage, get like a steering wheel locking device, or one of those ignition kill switches. I don't know if I mentioned it last month, but there was also an increase on the Kia thefts over 48 week. I haven't seen any of those recently in my area. Does anyone have any questions for me? Yes, sir.
Excuse me, I just came to the Parkwood meeting and they talked about the hot teams being understaffed. We have been understaffed all the year. You know anything about that? Is that a recruitment issue or the parents or anything or I don't know?
So the hot team was ran from the South Bureau. I do know that they are working at a kind of like a half person staff, so I think they're allowed 4, they're working as 2. However, myself, Officer Myers, we do help them out, and post campsite cleanups, so if you have any of those, you can get a hold of them, and if they're on one side, usually they'll let us know.
That was part of the issue, they can't do the cleanup.
Right.
Because they're understaffed.
Right, usually myself and Officer Myers, who works on 42, which is Central Broadway area, we'll go out and try and post those for cleanup and let them know that we'll take care of those ones. So we try to help them out where we can. But yes, they are short staff right now. Any other questions? Officer Johnson had to handle something in the lobby and he'll be in here shortly, but I believe they're talking about second chance Thursday, so. All right, thank you guys.
I think just the information that I got from the hot team, and it's been probably a couple of months, but one of the officers had an injury and had to go out with theirs, and so they pulled the third one to put in another area. And so they're just down to 2.
Is it recruitment specifically for those teams or try to put people in if they want?
And I talked to Chief Sullivan about it, and he knows the importance of the role, and she was starting to get back. Yeah, it's kind of calm, but it's been nice. The officers are fires. They've all been really great with helping us. Get that piece. Is the library representative? Let's just go ahead and do library and, is that okay, so?
Yeah, I don't know, we got to drop off for work, so.
So the public library report.
Hi, my name's Sierra Kelly. If you haven't seen me around the library, it's because I'm relatively new. So you're probably more familiar with Ann Ethan. She was the brand manager here at Evergreen and Angelo as well. She retired mid-September. So I've taken over for her. The library was closed today. We had our yearly in-service that we do on this day every year. So all of the staff from all of the libraries were down at the Advanced Learning Library today, and we were doing training all day. So some of the training topics that we trained on today, helping children find materials in the library, resolving security situations, inner workings of our interlibrary loan department, how we handle bed bugs to make sure that those are, getting taken care of and not passed on in the books, things like that. So we're feeling really excited about where we're headed for the rest of the year. I'll give a couple of updates about the Evergreen branch, and then some remodel updates. So the Evergreen branch had a couple of fun things this week. Towards the beginning of September, we had 3 classrooms. First grade students from Cobb Elementary came and visited. And they had a tour of the library and did presentations, and on the walk over, they were looking at what are they seeing, and they created some artwork here at the library. And then we took that artwork and we are displaying it at the story walk over in the Evergreen Park right next door. So definitely go check that out. We've got some really cool stuff over there that was created by the first graders, and then, it's only gonna be up until November, and then we're gonna change out the story walk story, so we'll have a new story in November. And then we also, had some volunteers this month, so if you saw, I think it was September 8th. There were a lot of teens in the library, more than you would probably normally see. We had a bunch of teens from Mays High School come and volunteer. They were looking for service projects, so we had them cleaning things, cleaning our toys, reorganizing. They did some outdoor work, just like cleaning up outside of the library. And then we're gonna have more teens come and visit in the month to do volunteer work as well. So some remodel updates. Life's a little bit easy for me right now because normally I'm managing the Angelo branch and the Evergreen branch, but Angelo's closed at the moment, because they are getting ready to start remodeling. So there's gonna be a short groundbreaking tomorrow, and then construction is gonna start. Hoping to have that branch finished by February, to reopen. Once Angelo closes, or once Angelo reopens in February, the Rockwell branch then is gonna close for remodel. And they'll be closed probably until June, or July, maybe, and then they'll reopen. And then Westlink, if anybody, Westlink's been closed for their remodel for a long time. They're on track to reopen in January, so really excited about that. And so next year, we're gonna have a lot of beautiful new branches for people to go and visit, and a lot of folks are hoping that their branches end up looking like Evergreen, because Evergreen had such a great remodel. It looks so nice inside. We're hoping some of our other remodels will look similar. And then the only other thing I have is just to let you know about some upcoming programs that we've got happening. These are all gonna be at the Advanced Learning Library downtown. So we have Larry Hadford is going to be going to the library. Oh, I missed that one. Sorry, I did these last week. So that already happened, but we have cool events with folks from around town all the time. So keep an eye out on our programming page and you can see some of those. We have Spooky Stories for Grown-ups on Friday, October 18th. That's gonna be in the evening. So it's gonna be actually an after hours event. So the downtown library will close, and then we're gonna have a group of local performers and actors who are gonna read scary stories. They're gonna be very scary, so not an event for kids. But it's gonna be a fun Halloween program for adults. And then we're really excited about our DIY day that's coming up on Saturday, November 2nd. It's gonna be all day from 10 to 5 at the Advanced Learning Library, and it's gonna be a lot of exploring all of the technology that we have in our makerspace. There's gonna be inventors and creatives from around the community that are bringing their projects and creations for people to look at. And there's also gonna be like food trucks and music, like it's gonna be a very, very exciting event, so definitely come to that. That's again on Saturday, November 2nd. Any questions for me about what we're doing at the library? It is, yeah, it's Friday, October 18th, it starts at 7.
I would just like to say welcome. I haven't had the opportunity to meet you yet, so super excited to have you here, and appreciate all of the nice stuff that you guys have done.
Yep, and I'll try to keep you guys appraised of cool things that we've got going on in the library.
Thank you. Dr. Johnson?
All right.
I was getting from.
No, I was a little busy. Hi, everyone. I'm also Brent Johnson. If I look a little familiar, it's because I used to be community policing on the north side of Wichita. I was out here in District 6 for the last, I guess, 6 years while I was on 41B. And now I'm community policing on the west side of town. And so my area is along the river, just west of the river, starting from basically like River Vista, Exploration Place, the Delano area, and kind of just runs all the way along, all the way to 21st and Hamlin area now. So trying to learn my new area, learn the new things about going on in the area. I don't have a whole lot for you guys today, but I will tell you guys, we are trying to get the word out about Second Chance Thursdays. So we have one coming up on October the 24th. It goes from 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. You guys have any friends or family that have maybe misdemeanor warrants, or they have a bad license that they need to fix, or payment plans that they need to work on with the court, please come meet us. We want to help everybody out with that so we can get that worked out. In addition to that, like I said, just trying to learn the new beat and learn the new areas on West Community Policing. So you guys have any questions on it? Sorry, good question. It's here at Evergreen. It's actually at the rec center.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Very efficient.
All right, we are now at the public portion of our agenda. There were no scheduled items this month. Is there anybody present who would like to speak on an item that is not part of the agenda? All right, come up front. You have 5 minutes if you want to state your first and last name and address for the record, please.
Okay, William Leroy Landry, 235 North of Kansas, 67203. As of yesterday, they had that river there. They blocked my whole entire street on Elizabeth down. Something needs to be done about them blocking streets like that due to people that do have to work on weekends. No notifications, I deserve the right to get in now, like, right, maybe walk in. Several years ago, I got fired from the job because I couldn't get out because they had the whole area blocked off due to the run. So I had 5 other neighbors complaining about it. And then it closes down businesses, so whoever's in charge of these closing down the streets needs to do better. Honestly, just maybe do better and communicate. Because I didn't get no notifications and I heard my dog barking. I thought someone was breaking in my truck. Go out there and I'm seeing hundreds of people walking by my house and I'm like, oh, can't believe it. So that's all.
I would say, I know that they did a lot of, outreach. I don't know specifically, we usually send a postcard, but I know there was a lot of stuff on social media, so I know we try to hit all the different angles, and this was the first year that we can find a marathon, or, yeah, the Pretty Fire with, open streets, which I was in favor of, between the chili cook-off and, Prairie Fire and open streets, that's closing down when we made arterial roads, three different weekends. And you know, just a handful of weeks. So I was in favor of combining the two, and I thought, well, there's so many people down there already. But this is definitely the feedback that we need to hear. So I'm definitely past that.
Yeah, I had 6 other neighbors that said, I'm glad I wasn't working today, and that's one thing they gotta take in effect. Residential streets and people that live on the street should have a right to be able to get out and not do a run there. So if they do got work, they can do the work. Because, yeah, that sucked for me, but hey, it was just Walmart, so who cares? Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else who would like to speak on an off-agenda item? All right. With that, Councilmember Ballard, I will turn it over to you for our new business agenda.
Okay, to the first zoning case, 2024-0034.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Christina Reed with planning staff. Thank you. Thank you, council member. I know that you guys heard this case back in August, so I won't go over it too much. I'll just say, since the DAB meeting, it did go to city council. It was not a consent item because you guys recommended denial because the applicant was not present. So the action of the city council was to bring it back to the district advisory board for a second motion or a second recommendation to city council for the governing body. Nothing has really changed other than I'm not sure if this was relayed in the DAB from August, but it did change ownership from Jose and Maria Solis to Heritage Family Church, and they're here today to speak about why they are requesting the zone change. Would you like me to go over the report again, or do I want to the August meeting of like here and the 20 details? We're going to go over the entire report.
No, I think basically, I knew that there was change in ownership was happening, and I just wanted to the new owner the opportunity to answer any questions from the dad. It seemed like, there was just a lot of uncertainty about what the plan was, and I just wanted to give him the opportunity, before it came back to the
That's for him.
Sure.
Question?
Oh, yeah, just go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll ask questions or tell us what your plans are.
Name's Jonathan Dudley, president of Heritage Family Church, located in 3840 North Central. I apologize for our absence the last meeting. I understand the notification was sent to the owner that we purchased the property from, and so I did not know this meeting would take place. Appreciate the opportunity having it rescheduled. The property was originally zoned light commercial, and then we signed the contract to purchase the property from Mr. Solis. We requested that zoning be renewed, and that did not take place between the confines of the transaction there. And so the purpose of Heritage Family Church is requesting that the property be zoned light commercial is to retain the zoning regulation that it had originally. That's in essence why we have this one to retain instead of in the future possibly having to reapply for that. This retain the authorities.
So it would remain church.
Correct. The church owns the property. I know there was question at the NABCB meeting as to whether or not we were making that a church, and we have not. I think someone in history had a church there. But that is not intended purpose to make it a church. When we're actually using the building to serve some community that are underprivileged and less fortunate, trying to teach the responsibility and yard maintenance and living maintenance, financial responsibility, trying to come upon the investment for the church and for you and the mission.
This might be a question more for the city and for you, but I was under the impression that the plot was always on the SF five for the one. This has not been helped to the.
So I don't have any record of it ever being limited commercial. Going back to the last time I saw it was like 1996. I know that there are certain areas of town where they did like a major down zone or a major up zone. And you can see that in a lot of places where, at major intersections, like you'll see that it's limited commercial at the intersection, you know, it's single or two family, outside of that, but I did not see that at this particular intersection. Like some kind of changing zone, like I wanted to.
If the intention to continue, you know, the kind of thing that we do now, easier than the library,
That is correct. It housed, you know, when we purchased the building, the zoning prior to our ownership, I read somewhere, but I don't have record of it, that it, I thought it was on a zone like most, I think that what they will say is, where I would make it, that it was zoned like most. And it did house multiple businesses in the building prior to our ownership, so I don't know if that was illegally operated there prior to our ownership or not.
How many people do you foresee coming out of that? Like really?
You know, so.
I'm just concerned about it. Half of it's really, I don't know, very, at times.
So it's only single family now. And then the way it's being used now, non-conforming use, there's no, what they're doing now, allow the way to use it.
So, it's possible that the accounting firm was a non-conforming use. You know, we can't track down every property that does something kind of pushing. Place of worship is a permitted use by right in the current zoning. It sounds like there's some business opportunities, so, you know, office spaces are not a permitted use in single family. And then, like, so the accounting firm would be office space. If you talked about like yard maintenance, I have to check my phone here, because I know that there's a use called construction sales and service, so that might be something. Yeah, construction sales and service, I don't know if that's yard maintenance per se, but that is a permitted use under limited commercial, subject to additional supplementary use regulations in the code.
The folks you're serving out of there now, are they staying there?
Yes, some are, yes.
And limited commercial allows for, up to 75 dwelling units per acre, for residents.
Can you talk to us a little bit about, we don't see neighborhood retail very often.
Yeah, so neighborhood retail, it's, I think I provided it a little bit, in the report here. So, there's a lot of things, that are different because one, it allows for less, multifamily. In addition to that, I believe restaurants have a maximum square footage of 2,500 square feet, if I'm not mistaken. I have to double check the code for that, or maybe I think it's 8,000. 8,000 is for a restaurant, 2,500 for retail space. So it does limit the square footage for, certain businesses. So, one of the reasons that we're recommending neighborhood retail, especially given the size of the lot.
But as I look at neighborhood retail versus limited commercial, there's things like group residence general is an outline. Community assembly is conditional. So, you know, it is in certain cases kind of a big difference between limited and commercial. Given what he's kind of described of the potential and usage. Speak to that just a little bit. Why something like this wouldn't be allowed per se, beyond what's in the report, you know, just where it's this downshift from one to commercial to neighborhood retail, but kind of taking into account what he's described. Now we're limited on what the usage is.
Yeah, so you're limited on the usage as well as like the maximum heights, the setback requirements for the buildings. There's just certain uses in limited commercial that we don't feel are appropriate for this area, such as vehicle repair. That is permitted by right of use of commercial. I would have to look at on the other uses.
Sure. So, but would it make sense potentially to limit some of them that we've done in the past, where we've taken them into commercial? And sure, that's fine, we can zone it that way, you can't ever do it this way, you know, where certain things that we exclude within the
Yeah,
language.
are you suggesting a protective overlay?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
In order for it to, if it were to stay single family, and is there like a declaration of household worship usage, or what all is in that? I mean, like, does that accommodate what they're doing?
So I didn't check all of what Mr. Dudley was proposing. I heard it, I just can't get back to. But place of worship as it stands is permitted in both, or in all three of the, zoning, both what they're requesting, what is allowed and what, staff is recommending. The additional uses, Mr. Butler, could you please repeat some more, you said construction or maintenance, so education. I mean, if they want to establish themselves as an educational institution, I would have to, again,
All right.
educational institution, I would have to look at here, so, I'm seeing, I mean, university or college is permitted by right money of commercial. Yeah, I'm just, I don't wanna feel like I'm keeping you guys here, and then for schools, it looks like in single family, they only allow elementary, middle, and high school.
Is it work that they're doing with residents or single family?
Well, so the difference between, so there is group residence, group residence limited up to 12, or it's up to. It's up to 10 people, group residence limited is allowed by right in single families, and group residence general is more than 10 people, and that's allowed by right in the commercial, so it really depends on the capacity. Of the group residence there. Now, if they want to do multifamily, in which there are multiple dwelling units that are not collectively owned by a single entity, that's where limited commercial, would be appropriate. Or neighborhood retail, it depends on whether you want to do 75 dwelling units per acre, 28 dwelling units per acre.
So if they want to make that for people, maybe do that now. The way it's done.
I would, again, I want to have to make sure that I have the correct definition here, for group residence, limited. Almost say. Okay, so group home, is permitted, by right in single family, and that's up to, 10 people, including 8 or fewer persons with a disability, and not to exceed 2 staff residents.
And with that, it was done from the maintenance of the yard work and those.
So if they were to teach, yard work, I'm not sure how that would fit necessarily within our defined uses in the zoning code. I presume that there can be, I mean, as long as the education is ancillary to group resident or group home, I don't see that being something that's necessarily prohibited. As opposed to like, you know, this is a technical school, and you teach X, Y, Z, I think that would be a little bit different by zoning.
I think maybe, but again, I think when I'm sticking on the group one, I'm thinking long term, say, you know, you guys run forward, there's no one living there anymore, then it's all the neighborhood retail, it's not the rest of it, seems to be that, like, very impacts, and I think it can. So I guess for you, yeah, I think as long as the zoning covered with very tiny, it doesn't matter than another, it's obviously exactly the block property, believing that it was or fixed. I think what you can do is plan this, you know, you can different.
At that point, sir, I think the only difference in my mind would be changing the value of this.
I'll be honest, I've had a lot of dealings with people from the church, and I am leery. What your plans are there, because of the experience of the topic. And I struggle with why it needs to be anything in the list for what you're looking to do. I guess for the value.
Well, in my mind, it's pretty general statement.
I don't know, maybe that's,
I have no idea what's.
I don't want to get into the specifics, but it's. You understand. Sorry, I guess that, I would like to be interested in that.
I guess what I'm looking for is, you know, I mean, I'm also looking through what I think, and what I'm trying to find right now is the real listing, which it says that it's being sold as LC, because I was under the impression that those were happening simultaneously in the seller team's with mortgage, because currently, as a fact, I am selling it as this, and so the seller may, the seller may even ask that themselves, because he told you one thing without guaranteeing it. And so it's the default.
Do you want to, if I may, as someone who purchased a house, I know that a lot of county appraisal records are not the same as zoning classifications. Like I had a gentleman come to me and he was scared because he accidentally had a duplex. He was like, no, it says single family on my county appraisal report. And I was like, well, no, it's zone B multifamily. So you can have single family, two family, or multifamily on my property.
I think Josh's thing is valid in that you can still do a protective overlay within SFI. That would provide the opportunity to be a reform, as well as a community assuming that additional community assembly. It at least puts the usage within what you're doing now. And limits the future. Yeah. And down the line, if it turns out, the purchase that you have for it, if you obviously have then you come back and say, you need to revise it for a conflict. But I'm thinking, but this is, it's not permanent.
So if I may read out the definition of community assembly, it's an establishment providing meeting, recreational, educational, cultural, or social facilities for private membership or nonprofit association, primarily for use by members and guests. Typical uses include fraternal organizations, philanthropic institutions, private museums, art galleries, observatories, planetariums, botanical gardens, arboretums, wings, and parks.
Any comments, questions, concerns?
Think is there a thing that we do to make it so that they can do the work that they do? Or is that already? We're already in situations where they can do the work. They do. Sounds like that's the case. I guess my other question is like, just by virtue of being owned by a church, is that not give some leeway into use?
It's okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure really any leeway at least that we have through our planning department. I know that we're going to zoning enforcement for a different church at the moment that is selling stuff. And so like, no, you're not classified as retail. You know, if you're operating out of your establishment, you're not considered retail. That's not an exception. We provide places of worship.
Right, it sounds to me like what they're doing, they're sort of falls in line with what I think about places of worship is like providing services to very served persons. I know a few churches that they house people for a week or so at a time, various groups, for some people. So I'm just curious if there's I don't know, like I don't know that I think that people the LC at a place that's not. Regularly fit as a city. But then I also don't want to. Break off. Well, I guess my question is, how do we get the record that needs to be delivered? Because this is not like the doing the thing that they're doing is an issue, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess, the staff recommendation allowed.
We are recommending neighborhood retail, well, this was, the recommendation was based on the previous applicant we had.
Okay.
And that was to expand options for development. And so because, and even though all of the surrounding properties that you see are, everything that you see in red here is LC.
Right.
We feel that neighborhood retail is a smoother transition between the different property with, single family residential properties, given they didn't know their intent at the time. The original applicant actually applied for GC, general commercial, and we talked them into LC and then we recommended neighborhood retail as involved. So, so the recommendation that we, provided here, this was done, before the transaction was completed between the original applicant and Mr. Doherty. So would you recommend? No.
Sorry for all the questions.
It's okay.
Does it allow residential use?
Yes, up to 21.8 dwelling per acre.
So. I'm just guessing that something that allows for a commercial use like retail is going to garner a value. Some point that's greater than SF. But also, I think one of some things, some uses that we were talking about overlaying, like this is where I think that we have overlay comes into play. If it sounds like future value is also a consideration.
Yes.
What is it you want to do, that you don't feel like you need?
As far as the stipulation present with the against a prohibition, there's nothing that we're working on. So they're not going to actually position forward. It was just advertised to us as a life. So he's on a piece of property, and I asked, so we negotiated the fee with that not be allowed to lapse. And so.
Because there's some thoughts out there you want to do, but.
No, I thought I was purchasing a piece of property. It was on the so when I wanted to retain that. Value of it.
I guess I'm still. I think I appreciate that, but ultimately that's not what's sitting with us here. I mean, that seems like something that we selling need to work out on their own, like what residential value. This is zoned as a home, single family. Like I'm voting with the precedent for this body also in the city to be remedying miscommunication or lies in the I agree. And so I guess that would be what you think. I would give my opinion to be not. Point of discussion that was, what I would say that was, if staff recommendation is at a certain level. Restaurant is one, there isn't a lot. Right, that a neighborhood retail can do that an SF5 can't already do. That's why I'm guessing that you guys.
Which in a sense is still a light, it's just a very light.
It's like.
It's a diet.
Office, parking.
It's the no sugar version.
Salon. No. Because a lot of these things already, you can do. A lot of. I guess that was wish, I mean, what you wanted to do now.
Nothing more than what.
I think you just think that.
that it's.
We're
Somebody took it for.
Yeah, probably one of
Oh, yeah, no, I just, I think as we will be in a position because having a miscommunication with itself. Should have that's what
If you think that it's,
That's all.
it's in the applicant's favor to some degree that this was started with the previous owner. Is seller,
Yeah.
and like this fall fair, really the whole reason that we I think, chose to do that. Was just not knowing what the intention was, it was pretty wide open.
And it needs to know.
Yeah, so.
I think now it's like, I, you know, if my, whatever, perspective, I can increase that, but we're gonna do it like that. This is between seller and buyer, and whoever, that's what I'm saying.
I these things with it. I probably would have said, oh, I mean, I don't know that I would have gotten into looking to do that like it is right now, maybe I'm not sure. And then you put this back into it.
Right now, there's a motion, second on the table for denial. For use of to. All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Regimen.
And that was for the substitute motion? For the, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move on to the Witchcraft Environment Action Plan.
Thank you guys for having us and for being able to add us to your agenda. My name is Lisa Ortega. I'm the Senior Environmental Specialist for the City of Wichita Public Works Department. So me and my colleague, who's actually presenting another job right now, have put together this plan that we're getting feedback on. I do want to start off just saying that this plan, as of right now, does not ask for any funding. Eventually, we can come to this council. It is not asking for any funding, and we are not putting any policy in there that is restricting what people can. We have gotten some comments on that, which you'll kind of see, maybe you'll have questions that sort of, I just want to start with that. The whole point of this plan is to help us be able to find grants if possible. We have had a few other grants that we have really any projects to put up with, and so to put up for those grants. So we've had just having a public works and see what we needed. Talk to our sustainable integration board. And so we want to be able to make sure that we're putting projects forward that will help the community and that community members say they feel is necessary or that they feel will be able to help them and any environmental issues they may feel they are facing. So to get started, just a little background. So this was started with this Wichita Sustainability Integration Board. They were helping us put this together. And the purpose of the Wichita Sustainability Integration Board is to advise the city council and city staff on sustainability matters affecting the city's long-term livability and economic vitality. The board will collaborate with residents, schools, business, and other partners to advance the city's environmental goals. I will say I'm the liaison for the Wichita Sustainability Board, so if you have any questions or want to attend the meeting, please feel free to use or ask any questions. We use two baseline studies to put together this climate action plan. The first one being the climate risk and vulnerability assessment, which I think will be in the next slide. So we put together a few documents from the EPA and reports that show different areas that might become of concern in Wichita. Like different vulnerabilities in communities, extreme heat, flooding, severe storm, wind tornadoes, hail, and as you probably heard, drought. So these are just kind of different environmental issues that we know we're currently facing or we're going to be facing more severely in the future. These things can affect us, not only our home, but they can also cause our insurance to increase across the country. House insurance is increasing because these severe storms are becoming worse. So we're trying to see if there's any way we can mitigate it to make sure that our residents aren't feeling the effects of that as heavily, as maybe they could be. Flooding, as we see more, drought, we might see more extreme flooding, flash flooding, because I've heard of that, where we get a lot of rainwater in a small amount of time, which especially in our flood, zone areas, may cause more houses to flood. So we got this map from the, EPA. All these kind of dark gray areas are designated as environmental justice issue zones, and these are census tracts. So as you can see, in 6, we have a few. One of the main concerns that comes up in 6 a lot is air quality with kind of industrial zone, and especially with highways, and then with the rails as also kind of through. And so that's one of the issues. To be designated, and also you have to have kind of a few different environmental justice issues hitting the area, and then also if you have areas of low income community, if you have a lot of respiratory issues, a lot of asthma, or you have a lot of people in this area with diabetes. So a lot of different things that lead to this, but as you can see, most of Wichita is considered one of the environmental justice issue zones. So it's not just and so back in, I believe it was 2021, this was before my time before I started the city. We worked together with NASA to do a heat rate study. So this is what came back was we have a lot of heat islands in the city. What this means is that in a lot of areas, we're getting a lot of extra heat. So sometimes the way we want to mitigate this is put in more tree canopies to help reduce the way the heat is hitting in certain areas. Because some people are, we're getting a lot more heat, so this can lead to issues during the summer, especially because we can't really do that walking. It also affects energy bills in this area. So that means these people in these areas are facing an extra energy burden that maybe people in other areas aren't seeing. Trees help with that as well. They usually help reduce the energy bills. So this was one of the studies we also used to kind of just the policies, not necessarily policies, but projects that we put forward to try and combat this. And then one of the other things is national climate assessment. So this was a scenario that was put together, and as we can see from the intermediate scenario from the mid 21st century and mid 21st century, and this is the very high scenario. As you can see, these are precipitation changes. So we're kind of in the area between the west and the east kind of meet the weather needs. But as you can see, we're gonna see more of a drought area, and some other places we'll see more rain. So that's kind of the changes that we're anticipating. So trying to do something about that as drought is such a big issue right now. And lastly, the greenhouse gas inventory. This was put together last year by my colleague who's put down the other lab. And so we put this together based on 2021 data. It was kind of the most recent data we had together at the time, and we break it down into two categories. This one is local government emissions. So this is what the city is, the greenhouse gas emissions that we're emitting, and then this is community-wide emissions. So as you can see, the biggest piece of the pie over there for the city emissions is the solid waste facility. This is just because there's no way to really separate it out. The city runs the landfill, so anything that is emitted from the landfills, we count it as city emissions. That's kind of why it's the biggest one. But another big chunk of the pie you can see is building facilities. This is most likely due to the energy use. The energy, we have some of the city buildings that we run. This includes police buildings, firehouses. So we count all that as our energy usage. For community-wide emissions, there's a couple big slices. One of the biggest one is going to be residential energy. And so this is just homes. This is just people using the energy in their homes. And then another big slice is transportation and renewable sources. This was Google keeps pretty good track of people, and kind of the same data that goes into Google Maps and can tell you if an area is high traffic or not. So that gave us that data to see how many people kind of were driving at different times and be able to get an average of our transportation, how much we're emitting. Industrial energy is also counted, and then commercial energy as well. And, so now to get into the plan, those are just kind of the documents that we use to guide us and to talk about, to target different community issues, like I talked about earlier. So here's the vision that was put together by the Sustainability Integration Board, and it's creating an environmental legacy in Wichita where economic prosperity and urban sustainability converge to create a thriving, eco-friendly city, allowing every resident to enjoy a high quality of life that respects the limits on resources of the lands. And we have different goals and targets to reduce emissions and adapt to a changing climate. As we're seeing more drought, how can we reduce our water usage? So just making sure we're adapting to how things are changing. And we broke it down into 5 different focus areas, both targeting community-wide targets and government operations. So it's not just about us telling community what to do and how to do it. It's about the city also making those changes. So 5 focus areas, we have buildings and homes, energy supply and distribution, natural resources, which means like green spaces and water, transportation, land use, and waste management and irrigation. Okay, starting off with buildings and home, one of the biggest things, as you can see, because it took such a big chunk of the pie, is just trying to reduce the energy we're using. So this usually means trying to make buildings and homes more energy efficiency. So some of the actions that the city could take and we hope to be able to take is to do more energy efficiency improvements in different buildings. As I mentioned, we had a energy efficiency and conservation block grant that I put together the application for last year, and we received. It was about a little under $400,000, and about half of that went to putting in energy efficiency to help our stormwater pumps be more energy efficiency. So targeting those, and then to help the Wichita PD animal shelter and helping with the demolition and their energy usage. And the other half actually went to something else I will be talking about, which is weatherization assistance. We're partnering with a nonprofit called South Central Kansas Economic Development District, who helps the whole South Central Kansas region. People who get under the low income, the federal low income bar, all exactly. But they can apply to have their home have an energy audit and then energy efficiency upgrade. So this can be anything from roof repair to HVAC to their plumbing system as well. So it's a really big help, especially for some of those more costly home improvements. So we gave about half of that money to help specifically Wichita residents. And this helps with renters and homeowners. So this will help reduce their energy burden. So hopefully reduce their energy costs, and it also just helps the environment, obviously using less energy. So for city actions, as I mentioned, energy efficiency improvements, LED lighting installations, that seems to be one of the highest things, the highest return on investment and the biggest return on investment. So we are currently in most city buildings, they do have LED lighting already. We're getting through to all of them, hopefully, slowly but surely, especially the older buildings that tend to have the less efficient systems. And then for what this means for the community is what opportunities we provide would be like weatherization assistance, seeing if we can do more for our low income residents, and then savings on energy costs. That's the whole kind of point, making sure that if we're using less energy, that means less cost to the community. And then next is energy supply and distribution. So what this means is doing kind of renewable energy, trying to get more renewable energy.
The whole question,
If you want me to after each slide, that's easier. Yeah, of course. Any questions about the?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there any look at, using some of this work and research to say, you talk about flooding and permeable surfaces or driveways or roadways or whatever, like, does that fall into this somewhere and changing the zoning code and buildings and?
Yes, we do get into a little bit of like changing building and zoning codes in transportation and land use. We talked a little bit about changing trying to shift more to infill. But as far as permeable surfaces and driveways that hasn't been included, if you'd like to give more information on that, or if you'd like, at the end I have a survey, so if you have any comments or what should be added, we are more than happy to take those as well. Something that you feel needs to be included has to be included. For energy supply and distribution, so as of right now, the city has over 90% of our renewable energy for city operations. This was a collaboration with, Evergy and a wind farm, I believe, in Oklahoma, so we buy a lot of wind energy from Oklahoma. And then currently Evergy is trying to shift a lot of the energy to renewable energy sources. But for city actions is identify sites for priority solar installation. We did have a grant we applied for, that unfortunately we did not receive, but we were wanting to do a solar pilot. To see what city buildings could have solar installed, which would be best for that, which has maybe more sun that they get throughout the day and could maybe even overtake the, energy issues of the entire building. So we completely rely on solar energy. Unfortunately, we did not get that grant, so we haven't been doing that, but that's one of the things we'd love to be able to do if we had that opportunity for a grant. And then secure backup power systems for emergency services. For community opportunities and benefits, rebate and tax credit programs for renewable energy, installation and generation. There are a few rebates to the federal government currently, if possible, we'd love to be able to supplement some of those to make people to be able to use renewable energy if they choose to do so. And then new jobs in energy industries and then resilience to power outages. Any questions about?
The 60% figure, is that for, residents and commercial?
Yeah, that's for community wide. So by our estimates, we use a program called Quickly, to put in kind of our greenhouse gas emissions, and that's how we track everything. And they're estimating by Evergy that we will meet that goal by 2035 because of all the changes that Evergy is doing already.
Speaking of Evergy, actually, on the last one, including bridge development. So, I think it's really with young, and there's frequent problems with, Evergy. Infrastructure and safety, particularly with their polls. Now, I mean, last month's meeting, because I was celebrating my first and I learned that, they bury all city facilities as they call Will. Now, I was talking with more people that was an option, but they're not buried that because someone knocked out their car for a couple of days. And I don't think that, oh, whenever let that happen again. And so I am curious as the cities collaborate with Evergy, is there, could there be, a movement towards, if they're operating, but they can't go in the ground, if the package needs to stay from going to the debt.
I'm really not sure. As of right now, I'm not sure that state regulations would allow for that, and we do have to work with everything we're talking, which you mentioned, so I'm not sure.
You need regulations to allow to make that kind of insistence?
Yes, they did change. Sometimes there's a lot of state regulations.
Cost benefit, but I think that.
We talked a lot about that. And then on the other side, a lot of it came down to money. And the other side, there was a lot of conversations about it being an historical area, so it couldn't go underground. Like when they look at the bricks, reads back, if I mean, there's a lot, there's a lot.
It's not perfect for every meeting, though.
Sure.
However, I'm just in particular along the road, like trail where I used to get to, and you're going to be in cost, which I attended the public meetings, I did the economic buy, but they don't have the money for that kind of thing. But also, so it's the long term, in that then also. And one of the, I'm skeptical whether to be coming in.
You show us.
And some of it is that there are statewide, some of the other areas to. You don't even start on that.
Starting to continue on it.
Yeah.
I got a phone with technicians, and they're including the threads on their.
I think the intention under this was more like upgrading what we currently have and making sure it can support the increased capacity.
Yeah.
But I haven't really looked in or really heard their underground, so I will look into that. I think looking into it. Okay, so the next category is natural resources and green spaces. So what this means is trying to maintain the current parks we have and the tree canopy that we have and blue spaces, which blue spaces means just coming river or lake or, accumulate. So increase the number of registered community gardens, identify and complete 3 priority resiliency related infrastructure projects by 2035, and just trying to reduce the water consumption in city operations. So what this means is provide water conservation rates, which we currently do through the city, so just to provide those and see if we can expand on that at any time, or to include other items. Implement the tree canopy policy, which parks approved, parks and city council approved. So just making sure we're implementing it correctly, and we're not the drought is really difficult, or we can't plant trees because of the drought. We don't want them to be planted and then just die. So we make sure we are implementing it in the future. And ensuring a simple water supply. I know we've heard a lot about the drought and potentially going into city spring in the future. So just making sure we're able to ensure a stable water supply for future generations. And then for community opportunities and benefits, rebates for water consuming devices, as I mentioned, provide those rebates. Access to green spaces and fresh food, making sure that we do have a place to build a park with trees. And then save on energy costs from reduce urban heat, anything to replace the trees in and trying to reduce.
It's a swimming pool or blue space, is it?
It would not be considered. So any other questions from me?
Okay, quick one, okay, I don't want to talk to you. Go ahead. So in the tree policy, and I think the new tree policy is in the beginning of this year, when we're rolled out, and I remember in this meeting, there was, when they rolled out, they stated about in the remedy trees significant pollen, that was approximately faces features of the city. And so I wondered, tree policy has been revised to consider the diversity of the trees, and native trees that are going to give us the city and country to pollen 3 years ago. So you are aware of it.
It's so easy, the 17 feet underneath, the trees that were planted were all, right, are all native to, these, the devil was from the 60s and yeah. I want to say there's like 1 million species that I think we're wrong with that, more than.
And then, on the review, for what are you thinking on? If you go to August meeting to where the, what is that private wells, are particularly good for work in the city of County and from the for students. Could that be a part of the community opportunity benefits of the research program to have a private stuff?
Yeah, I think that was actually one of our intentions, to be able to, in any way, rebate or anything to incentivize to have people take the health consent, because we take from cheating that wells, what people get from wells, we want to affect those students.
Yeah.
Okay, and transportation and land use. So this covers a few different topics. So I definitely encourage everyone to read the plan action plan. It's not very inclusive, it is kind of lengthy, but it goes into a lot more depth about some of these different topics. But a lot of what this covers is trying to increase the percentage of trips within the shell that don't involve automobiles. So this can include trying to help with biking, trying to do transit, basically just reduce the mileage traveled. And what this means is maybe increase in transit ridership, increase the number of electric buses, but also trying to promote infill, where we're trying to make things closer to people where they may be able to walk to them. So instead of having to drive 2 miles to grocery store, you can go around the corner, or reduce those kind of bigger, longer trips, make it easier for people, especially people who have limited mobility, to make sure they have wide enough sidewalks, or if people choose to walk or bike, or region as a best close method they can do so, or that those routes are available. So a big part of that is going to be trying to stabilize the transit budget, so those options are available to people, support pedestrian safe infrastructure, and identify sites and partnerships for public EV chargers. People choose to go to EV route, we want to make sure that infrastructure is there for people to use. And then for community opportunities and benefits, accessible transportation options for all. So this means everyone, regardless of their abilities, is able to use transit. Improve air quality, reduce the vehicle mileage traveled, but better air quality for everyone. And then reduce traffic congestion. Even if you still have to use your car, and that's your choice. The less cars that are out there, the less traffic you're going to see. So big benefits is all. Any questions?
Electric vehicles to public chargers, do you know where we're at? currently?
I wanna say we're above that number because of the low amount of EVs we have currently. I wanna say it's somewhere close to. I don't remember what it is, but I know we're above that ratio currently, just because there's not a whole lot of EVs in Wichita as of right now, and the amount of EV chargers, if we're counting also private chargers and Tesla chargers. Any other questions? And lastly, waste management and reduction. So a lot of this is trying to reduce the amount of trash that goes into the landfill before they put it into it. So what this means is for us to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from both the landfills, Brooks and Plum Thicket, increase the amount of organic material being composted in Wichita, trying to reduce the amount of trash that just gets there, trying to stop it at the source, basically. And it's possible for the city to develop and implement a sustainable procurement policy for the city of Wichita and contractors as a model for interested businesses to replicate. For city actions, this means pilot direct residential yard waste collection. Like I mentioned, develop a sustainable purchasing practice. And for community opportunities, this prevents pollution caused by trash, potential access to composting, and save money on disposal costs. Any questions? From this room?
I know there's been a lot of conversation with trash companies as far as, it doesn't sound like the companies really want like all of it, like trying to maybe have, I'm just making this up, like District 6 is gonna use that waste management, so we don't have all the different companies ripping up and down the streets every day. It's just interesting to me, like, I mean, to me, it makes more sense if you just have District 6 and you can save money by going to all the houses on the same, I don't know, I don't understand. I must be missing something, because to me it makes sense, but the feedback that we got, that I got from the companies, they made it sound like it would like stunt their growth, and I'm like, you're like driving all over the city, you have random people's trash, you know, every single day, but if you stay in a certain, I don't know, it just seems interesting to me.
So yeah, it would help reduce wear and tear on the roads as well, and reduce the amount of traffic on the roads. One of our group members on the sustainability board is really advocating for franchising that hall, so that they could be more collaborative on where they go and when they go. But I don't think the city wants to move in that direction, from my understanding, and they prefer to have it to allow competition to kind of do. So allow businesses
It's very interesting.
So we're kind of staying out of that
Yeah,
conversation.
Are we currently, you have the GHG emissions, are you currently, capturing methane?
We are not, but one of the things we want to do is be able to look into methane capture and capturing. It is very expensive. And so I've mentioned a few things like the home weatherization and the rebates. Some of those are currently available, and you can view the different rebates on our website. We've just been able to update everything, so there's a lot of great resources on there. Both the weatherization for low income, some rebates that are available through Evergy and the federal government, tax credit as well, and information from local universities if you want to start a community garden somewhere, things like that to help you get started. All those resources are available at the shop.gov/sustainability, as well as the whole plan is also available. And then we have our survey open as well, so that is also available on shop.gov/sustainability. We'll take it if you have additional comments or other things you'd like to see in this plan that you do not see mentioned. Please take that survey and comments in there for us. And then we're operating that now until the end of the year. So if you have anyone else in your group that would be willing to take your please send them to the shop.gov/sustainability. We do have future sustainability board meetings. We have one coming up on the 23rd. And then it's the fourth Wednesday of every month, and we are at Advanced Weather. They're at 6:15. Fourth Wednesday of every month at the Advanced Learning Library and through Zoom. That information should also be available at the shop. And then, sorry, that's a little outdated. We were at Open Trees yesterday, kind of people to take our survey. Last page, I believe. That's the QR code for the survey. I don't know, I should put it on last page, my bad. But like I said, my name is Sarah Ortega. Feel free to email me, my colleague, Ethan Kershaw. He will also have to answer any questions you guys have. And yeah, those are the links to the sustainability page. And the survey. Yeah, that's just a long link to, yeah, that's the long link to the survey. If you just want to click, which is part of the sustainability, that will also have it.
Questions or questions from the public? Awesome, thank you so much. And people will be able to find your presentation on the sustainability link also.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, thank you guys.
Okay, anybody have any updates or reports to share? Just a reminder, our next staff meeting will be on the first Monday, the second Monday falls into Tuesday, so we'll be having our meeting on the fourth. Yes. This month, my District 6 coffee on the 26th from 9 to 10 is gonna be at the new water treatment plant. So if you guys wanna come out to the admin building and check that out, I'll have some data from Public Works, just to answer any questions. October 26th. No,
not at the moment.
Tallgrass Film Festival, it starts on Thursday, October 24th. There is a huge off-the-chain Halloween party on Saturday, the 26th. All of the parties are located downtown. A lot of films are being shown in Century 2 this year. Great way to, you can buy individual tickets for like $10 to get this stuff in, or you can get tall passes, it gives you access to everything, pretty much in place online. And great way to support downtown Wichita as well. Spend some money in the community if you want. You just go to talkgrassfilmassociation.org for more details. I will be adjourned.
Okay,
I-